Alright, so it doesn't look like the content is stopping just yet. We got some hands-on footage for Tekken 8, the first hands-on preview. And take this with a grain of salt, this is coming from IGN, so let's see.
Growing up as a child of 90s and early 2000s arcades, I've been a casual enjoyer of the Tekken series pretty much all throughout its lifespan, with its cabinets being a regular spot where I would dump a few quarters, mash some buttons, and
Man, they had the common decency to put this in 1440p.
I've been a casual enjoyer of the Tekken.
Hold on. I'm sorry, I'm gonna do this a lot.
Growing up as a child of 90s and early 2000s arcades,
I really like the Tekken 3 intro. Like, I'm glad that they brought those back where, like, not only do they have their intros, but they have this thing where they, like, you know, they size each other up first. So, like, they do the little intro before the round starts. Like, look at Kazooie. He's just standing like a Chad. And this is also a Chad. King is actually the main character of the series.
I've been a casual enjoyer of the Tekken series pretty much all throughout its lifespan, with its cabinets being a regular spot where I would dump a few quarters, mash some buttons, and walk away with a smile on my face. I've put some time into just about all of them, but never really attempted to learn the deeper complexities of its mechanics.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up already. This needs to stop, man. You niggas need to, like, find somebody who plays these games consistently. You know what I mean? Saying that I used to put quarters in the arcade when I played Tekken 3 and I hate this shit. Like, stop with all this shit, man. Like, if you're a casual, just fucking play the game. We want to see what's going on, man. Obviously, you suck. Obviously, you know, you're like First Dan and everything. You haven't been following the franchise. Just play the game. Just show us. God.
To try and become good with a character. That's going to change with Tekken 8 because after spending about 4 hours with it, I'm all in.
Fuck, man. These motherfuckers don't learn anything.
While I am a self-admitted casual fan of the Tekken series, I have at least dabbled enough into Tekken 7 to be able to talk about the most defining differences between it and Tekken 8. Chief among those changes is the new heat system, which is all about enforcing one of Tekken 8's biggest design goals, rewarding aggression. With the press of a button, a character can use a heat burst to enter heat mode. The effects of it differ from character to character, but in general, you can view it as a limited time state where you're basically better at everything. Certain moves have new properties, others recover faster, making them more advantageous on block, and you gain access to new moves that aren't available outside of heat mode. One of the key elements of heat mode is that while it is time limited, with a meter that slowly depletes once activated, you can actually stop that meter from going down by landing attacks. This is just one of the ways that Tekken 8 looks to encourage its players to be more aggressive. Because if you're able to push the pace and land hits while in heat mode, you can keep that state going throughout most.
What was that? Hold on a second.
And if you decide that you keep that state going throughout most, if not all of the round. And if you decide...
What was that, man? Hold on a second.
You can actually stop that meter from going down by landing attacks. This is just one of the ways that Tekken 8 looks to encourage its players to be more aggressive. Because if you're able to push the pace and land hits while in heat mode,
okay, looks like one
keep that state going.
1 plus 2. I like that. That did a decent amount of damage too.
If you decide that you instead want to cash out on damage rather than remain,
oh, that's a new move from King right there. What would that be? Oh, that's like down forward 1, 2. He gets all down forward 1, 2 now. Cool.
You can use a Heat Smash, which is like a mini Rage Art super move that does a large amount of damage, but spends the rest of your heat meter.
Damn.
The heat system goes deeper than that too. In addition to there being a heat meter, there are also these little icons that govern your usage of certain actions while in heat mode. This is called heat energy, and if you enter heat mode with a heat burst, you'll only get 1 stock of it. However, if you use what's known as a heat engager, you'll enter heat mode with 2 stocks. These are special moves that, when landed, will instantly put your character into the heat state. Every character has 5 of them, and they're usually a handful of the most defining moves of each character. After you land a heat engager, you can spend 1 stock of heat energy to use a heat dash, which lets you quickly dash in to either connect combos that otherwise could not be connected, or if the heat engager is blocked, otherwise could not
So
be
it is his heat engager. I mean, obviously I should have figured out the first trailer, but or not heat engager, the heat attack.
Otherwise could not be.
So it's like a low kick into a mid, well, two mids.
Or
that does hella chip too, but it leaves you open, as it should.
Back up in their face to continue your offense.
Do you have back for a win back?
Let's pause and slow things down as we look at this example between Paul and Jack 8.
I wish they would stop fucking flipping between these characters.
5 heat engager special moves. Landing a heat engager gives him a free dash that he can use to get in close, but I actually don't think that this is a true combo. Nonetheless, he lands that cool launcher into throw combo from the trailer.
Nice.
Then he lands another Phoenix Smasher, and when you land a heat engager during heat mode, you're able to
I judge this person too preemptively.
So he spends a stock of heat energy on a heat dash, picks him up off the ground, and finishes with a heat smash. Note that Paul now no longer has any heat meter to work with for the rest of the round.
I know they're explaining this because it's only been explained once in a Japanese context, but there was subtitles and stuff. But like, come on, bro. Tell us how meter works.
To further define the unique aspects of every character. Each character has at least one completely unique advantage while in heat mode. For example, while in heat mode, King gets armor on his Jaguar run, making him a grappler with an armored command run to get in on opponents. Kazuya, meanwhile, can execute his iconic
There's no way.
fist technique without having to be frame perfect on the input. What I also love about the heat system is
Wait,
that
what?
it's available right
What did you just say?
Without having to be frame perfect to get in on opponents. Kazuya, meanwhile, can execute his iconic electric wind god fist technique without having to be frame perfect on the input. What I also love about the heat system is that it's available right at the start of every round. It's not a comeback mechanic, and you don't need to build up a meter.
Yo, they changed his laser! I'm sorry, I'm geeking out over that. They changed his animation after like 27 years, as they say. Because on Tekken, on Tekken 2, Tekken Tag, and Tekken Tag 2, Kazuya's laser was like, I'm jumping up into the air, then he spreads his legs and his arms, and he does the laser. You know what I mean? But look at that. Fluid.
Build up a meter in order to gain access to it. You're free to use it whenever and however you please. The already existing comeback mechanic from Tekken 7, Rage, does make a return, with it once again.
Well, I mean, that was a Tekken 6 mechanic, but whatever.
Causing a character to go into a rage state once they reach a critical level of health. While in the rage state, your damage increases and you gain access to your ultra powerful rage art technique.
Do you do more damage as it goes down now?
Are a thing of the past.
Still?
Largely because it's a mechanic that felt redundant due to the addition of the heat state and the advantages it provides. Another brand new element of Tekken 8 is the addition of a special...
Okay, so I don't think that's right. Like, I don't think that rage arts feel redundant. I will say that I do wish that they, and I somewhat got a little bit of pushback on Twitter. I do wish that they used the meter better. Not on Twitter or YouTube. I wish that the meter, like, refilled. Using this from the beginning and you don't get to use it for the rest of the round. Don't really like that concept. Like, I should be able to refill this during the round. You know? I should be able to refill this, and I shouldn't have it at the beginning. At the beginning of the round, I should have, like, none. And then it should be fairly easy to get it up if, you know, you are aggressive or you're getting hit. That's how I feel like it should be. And I feel like that a rage art should do double the damage of a heat attack, but use 2 of these. That's how I feel about that.
Another brand new element of Tekken 8 is the addition of a special control type, which is Tekken 8's new attempt at making its complex fighting system a little more approachable for newcomers. When in special control mode, each button has a recommended move.
Oh, that's how they were doing the EWGF.
There's a button for juggle combos, a button for grounded combos, and a button for quick load.
Man, I was giving this person way too much credit. Low attacks. I like
While this allows new players to compete with more intermediate players in terms of the damage they're able to output, the key thing to keep in mind is that players using the special control scheme only have access to a very small selection of moves.
Right.
The most interesting part, though, about the special control scheme, and the thing that really sets it apart from Street Fighter 6's new
Look at
modern
this
control
mess.
scheme, is
That's
that
why everything looks so different.
classic and special control styles mid-match with the press of a button. This makes it actually a fairly viable...
So that does confirm, like, I knew it, but, like, that does confirm that twin pistons is, like, the... You juggle with twin pistons, good.
With the press of a button. This makes it actually a fairly viable option.
People always told me that Twin Pistons made Devil Kazuya a good character. I disagree because, you know, there's other things that make Devil Kazuya a good character, specifically in Tekken 7, by the way. But, like, ever since, like, Tekken Tag 2, Twin Pistons has kind of been, like, you know, worthless. Like, it was cool back in Tekken 2 and, you know, Tekken Tag 1, where that would launch a character. Not many characters had, like, a great launcher like that, where it was, like, 1, 2. But, like, it's lost its flair. You lose the ability to bound or screw attack with that down forward one string. When you turn into Devil, it like becomes more of a detriment. But now it's like, it's really cool. Whoops. Sorry, I gotta be heading to class within the next 20.
Option for more experienced players as well, as you could be playing the match out in the class.
But you know what this means? We're probably not going to see a hell of a lot of new stuff.
Quickly swap to the special control style and start mashing out a combo without fear of it dropping. It also seems like a great learning tool to be able to quickly jump in with a new character and get a feel for what their moves and combos are going to look like without having to memorize a whole bunch of techniques just to be competitive. Those are all pretty substantial changes, so it's comforting to know that everything else still...
You know, I don't like the idea that, you know, they think that this is going to make them competitive. It's not going to make you competitive. You're just going to be a little bit better than, you know, mashing 1, 1, 1, because there are people that get on Tekken and be like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, or 4, 4. You know, they pick wall wrong and they're like 4, 4, 4, 4, 4.
Feels like some good ass Tekken. In my playtime, I mostly experimented with King, who's just as much of a powerhouse as he's always been. One of my favorite changes to him is that his reverse arm slam combo has been simplified, allowing him to go into the next throw in the chain with a single button press as opposed to a series of...
Really?
One of my favorite changes...
Hold on a second.
Is that his
two things to note.
Arm slam.
This elbow isn't attached to a grab like I initially thought. That just means that in his trailer where King does that elbow, that means that his grab he recovers really quickly from his grab.
One of
what does
my
this dude say?
Changes to him is that his reverse arm slam combo has been simplified, allowing him to go into the next throw in the chain with a single button press as opposed to a series of inputs that need to be memorized.
I don't like that shit. Like, why do you like that? Like, I get it to a certain degree, but why do you like stuff being so easy for you? Like, you know, these are the people that give Elden Ring a 10 out of 10. They're like, Dark Souls games are so difficult. But when it comes to fighting games, people love pussing out and choosing these, like, easy input options. It's funny.
Now, he still does have the ladder, and those are probably more damaging and harder to break.
Good.
But as someone who's always loved King, but was always intimidated by all of the commands needed to do a full chain grab combo, I appreciate having at least one that I could easily commit to memory and...
You know, I want to cut this person a little bit of slack. Like, it's hard. Chain grabs are hard. I play with Armor King. Chain grabs are hard. I don't memorize those because I feel like there are more effective ways to play with Armor King than just doing the chain grabs, though they would be really useful. Whoops. I just want to say really quickly, though, like, why are people like that? Like, you know, here's the thing. He's intimidated by the grabs. I'm not intimidated by the grabs. I can learn the grabs if need be, but I'd rather just spend my time learning how to move around with Armor King, etc., because both King and Armor King have very strong striking attacks. You know, if you wanted to, you don't even really need to do a whole lot of grabs with them, and if you do, they don't take that many inputs. But saying that you're intimidated, I don't want to do it because it would take too much time, and I understand a little bit of intimidation, but if you love King so much, why don't you just go to the practice room and practice it out? You know, if I love a character, I'm going to try and do everything that I can with the character. Like the EWGF is a little intimidating, but I try and do it as much as I can.
And rely on pretty much from the get-go of learning the character. I want to give a shout out to Tekken 8's command list too, which does a great job of giving extra context to the recommended moves for every character. It told me recommended combos, moves to use that are advantageous on block, what moves will launch an opponent,
just because we had back for a winner now,
them, what to do after activating heat mode, and much more. These move lists are extremely intimidating, with each of them containing hundreds of techniques.
Okay, so quick thing to note really quickly.
are extremely intimidating.
So he does twin pistons there, right?
What to do after launching them, what to do after activating.
All right, so he has his old down forward 1-2, this is the reason why I think that they might give him back his back 4-1. They seem to be going ham on the move list this time around. So his down forward 1-2 from Tekken 5, and was that on Tekken 5? Maybe DR. Well, let's just say Tekken 6. Tekken 6 through Tag 2 is back, and he turns it to double while he does it, and that's cool. And man, I'm glad to see it back, but he also has twin pistons. It's really interesting how he does that. So that means that, what is this going to be? Did they replace his down forward 1, forward 2 with this? Or did they just make a down forward 1-2? Down forward 1, holding down forward still and pressing 2, I mean. I don't know.
Each of them containing hundreds of techniques, and Bandai Namco is really putting in the effort by making them much more user-friendly. After my playtime was over, I left with a renewed enthusiasm to get into Tekken on a more serious level. Tekken 8 looks phenomenal. Its hits feel as impactful as ever, and its iconic cast of characters are even more uniquely defined thanks to the new Heat system. There's still a lot we have yet to see, but as far as first impressions go, Tekken 8 is a knockout.
Oh my god.
For more Tekken 8, make sure to check out...
Yo, they do the shit! See, I was hoping something like this would happen. They got the intros. How is this gonna have... Yo, how does Tekken 8 have intros and Guilty Gear Strive doesn't have intros like this? I'm screenshotting this just because it's good. You know, it's good content. They really... I don't know what happened between Tekken 7 and Tekken 8, but they got like this Tekken Tag 2-ish ambition, right? Where like they're just going balls to the walls with like all the good stuff.
Check out my interview with Michael Murray and Katsuhiro Harada. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
He said check out the interview. I want to see if there's any more like Tekken 8 footage after this. Oh man, that's so tantalizing. Alright, 1 second. Alright, so there's more Tekken content, and I got plenty of time. Let's do this. Excuse me. This is not in 60 FPS, IGN.
What's up, everyone? Mitchell Saltzman here, and I am joined by...
Yo, he looks like he could be like Michael Murray's nephew.
The one and only Katsuhiro Harada, and the likewise one and only Michael Murray. And we're, of course, here to
They
talk
kind of got
about
similar
Tekken
voices.
8. So, one of the things that you guys are adding to Tekken 8 that's completely brand new
are unique, and that...
I'm really not trying to, like, no offense to Murray and Harada-san or anything, but I'm trying to see gameplay, so...
Other genres don't have this, but you can guard and have, like, 0 damage if you're that good at guarding, right? So, in order to kind of get around that, it's more about, we wanted to kind of entice people to explore the game system and to be more aggressive in attacking. And the Heat system was kind of designed to be one of the strong points of that, and to be so interesting that people want to explore different options and creative ways to use the characters to kind of employ those tactics.
So I got to see a keynote of what your goals were with Tekken 8, and you said one of them was to enhance like the character specialties in the game. Can you talk a little bit
That's
about
what I've been saying too,
and how the Heat system kind of plays into that?
Harada kind of fresh. What kind of shoes are those? Harada he always be dressing, man.
It's quite a focal point for us for making each character more unique as a result of the Heat system. So the Heat system it's a nice package and a nice ring to it by itself, and it affects the whole game just from as a system standpoint.
I would not use Heat that early.
Each of these individual characteristics is different depending on the character when they're in the Heat state. For example, even King is a character that although he has his moveset and
that was their
some
heat
new
mode.
moves added, when he goes into the heat state, he has access to something like the Jaguar Sprint, where he's got the super armor attributes as he's dashing towards the opponent. Though all the other characters have it, no, that's specific to him and makes him unique. But what that does is it kind of fosters that players will have their main character, but then they learn what makes them even cooler this time.
I need people to know and understand that if Soul Calibur 6 did not come out, Tekken 8 would not push this hard.
Tekken 8. At the same time, they see another character and they think, oh wow, if the heat state makes them be able to do this kind of cool thing, maybe I'll pick them up and try them out. Harada himself even said he wants to maybe switch main characters or pick up someone else. He gave the King example. Myself, I'm a Mishima player, and if you look at Kazuya, he's been showing the trailer. One of the things for the Mishimas that's so satisfying is when you're able to hit the electric, right? The electric Wind God Fist, but it's so difficult input for people who aren't really good at the game yet. But in heat state, he has a much easier way to do it.
We've already seen this, that's why I'm not saying anything.
Why he's such a fun character. So those are just two examples, and imagine that across the whole cast.
So reflecting back on Tekken 7, I wonder, was there anything that you looked at when you were thinking about Tekken 8 that you wished, oh, I wish we did this in Tekken 7? Like, were there any areas in Tekken 7 that you thought you could do better at that you're now trying to do in Tekken 8?
面白い質問。今までないね。
なかなか面白い質問ですね。
There's lots of ideas. That's a very interesting question, first off, that we haven't really been asked. But there's many ideas of the opposite, where during Tekken, for example, 5, he gave the example that maybe the super slow was something that we did in 7, but he originally wanted to do it in 5. But it's very hard to take an idea that you couldn't do at the time because of not enough time or money or tech or whatever, and do it later, because often when you go to the next installment, you have a different fan base, or the times have changed that they want something else, and you have to you're not able to use those ideas that are stocked. So it's very difficult in
That's
that
a cool
sense.
rage art, man.
And this time for Tekken 8, it's more like it has to be better in every aspect than 7. That they have to put
Can't wait to see what customization looks like.
Brand new, rather than something that
Real quick sidebar, hoping that customization is really in depth and you could remove stuff from the costume and still keep that part of the costume. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Xiaoyu, I want to take her jacket off.
7 per se was what he was saying. For me personally, I kind of get what you're saying, and one example is Tekken 5. The characters, depending on who the pairing is, they have a certain line they speak and an action, and it changes depending on who they were talking to. And that was something that the fans really loved, and we just weren't able to do in 7. But this time, we put a lot of effort into doing that. And like Harada was saying, I really wanted to make the characters more unique, because they have rage or rage drive or systems across the board. So this time it was great to actually make them more unique with it.
Good on them, because that was one of my main criticisms for Tekken 7, if you guys know me. The characters became very homogenous, very homogenized. All the rage drives bleeded into one another. Either you got an extra tail spin, you got you spike the enemy to the ground and you got some unscaled damage, or you just got an insane amount of damage off of a rage drive, or you knock them into the wall. Those are the main things that happened, and rage arts basically were all the same too. I think Lucky Chloe had a low one. I think that's the most unique rage arts got, besides some of them being able to cancel theirs, like Paul. I think Paul was one of 2 that could cancel their rage arts or something.
The heat capabilities and such. I wish we could have done more of that earlier, but this time it's something special. So.
I actually noticed that while I was playing. I think Lars and Jin have a little fist bump intro. How many do you have a lot of those interactions in Tekken 8? So,
did they say something to each other at first?
And Jin have a little fist bump intro. How many?
Yes, no hard feelings.
Wish we could have done more of that earlier, but this time it's something special. So.
I actually noticed that while I was playing.
I'll give this everything I got.
Lars and Jin have a little fist bump.
Yes, no hard feelings. You're the main character again.
Do you have a lot of those kind of interactions in Tekken 8, or is it just a select few?
Yeah, we have quite a few. You might have seen some today. I think of the characters that you did see. For example, June also comes into it, so when she faces Kaguya, they have a different interaction. Some kind of things you might, story-wise, think, hey, maybe these people have something, then most often they do.
Another one of the big additions that you guys are adding to Tekken 8 is this special control scheme. Can you talk a little bit about the impetus of that control scheme and what you're trying to
I'm really not
accomplish with
interested in this portion, and I got something else I need to do, so...
僕らは最初から
Like, we've already seen this part.
Much better for us. And you can get a feel for the... They already know they can just jump right in. But maybe they want to try out someone else. And rather than watching YouTube videos or going into the move list and spend a lot of time...
I'm tripping, I'm sorry. I was looking at my dog. I'm going to rewind one more time.
YouTube videos or going into the move list and spend...
Oh, man, what is this stomping move Kazuya guys, man? Ridiculous.
Check out the character, and then once what they...
Man, and they're just really letting them get hit by all this. I don't know what that move is.
They want. And even maybe more advanced players, there might be an instance where they're playing and then in a certain moment, like at the end of a combo.
Yeah, that's a flippity dippity on counter.
If they don't want to make any mistakes, then they can turn that on and more, effectively do a certain move. So as you can see, it's designed that because it's simultaneous and because of the choice of the moves, that it's something that should benefit all their levels of players.
One of the big things about Tekken 7 was customization of your characters. Is there going to be a similar system in
stop
Tekken
messing
8
up the blanket.
where you can dress up your character as much as you want with the items that you get unlocked?
まあとにかくそうですね。カスタマイズは今後もっと。
So yeah, very interesting question that unfortunately we can't deep dive into at the moment. What we can say is, Tekken has always been known for, even within fighting games, being very a lot of freedom that the players have in customizing and look for their characters. Not just the skin, right? It's like you can change all these different parts in so many different ways. And that was the case for Tekken 7. So obviously we'd want to do even more for Tekken 8. Is all we can say. When the time comes...
Hopefully it's more like Tag 2, because Tekken 7, I think, was like the most minimalistic of the entire series, right? They've made better choices than Tag 2, though, because... Honestly, I think Tag 2 is the best because you got custom decals, I'm sorry, to your outfits, a lot of your outfits, so you could put like customized shirts, customized pants, etc., etc. That's what I loved about Tekken Tag 2, but unfortunately with Tekken Tag 2, they did weird stuff like, they put gloves on like a lot of like upper body items, like torso items. Like they would put, like Bruce, for instance, he had like a vest and shirt, right? They gave him gloves, and the gloves were bulky as hell. Like, I didn't like that. But then again, you got like Tekken 6, where you could change the inner body torso, the outer body torso. You could change what kind of gloves you have on. You could change your pants, but you only got a certain amount of colors. And Tekken 7, it's like Tag 2, where it's like you got your torso and you got your lower body, and less of the blocky stuff like the gloves. It's more of like good design choices and specific design choices in a lot of cases. But the hair was messed up. Like, they didn't do hair as good as Tekken Tag 2.
There's so much stuff we'd love to talk about on that, but for the time being, that's all we can say.
So with regards to the story of Tekken 8, I'm not going to ask you, is this going to be the end of the Mishima arc? But I am going to ask you, you've been thinking about this.
Look at Harada moving. He's like, damn, you know what? We did say Tekken 7 was the end of Mishima arc. What's going on?
I'm going to ask you, you've been thinking about this story for, decades at this point. Have you thought about the end of the story? Like, is that something that you're actively thinking about? Can you even see an end for the story?
それはもともとあって、もうそれで言うと。
So Harada was just mentioning that he actually had that kind of overall story arc and the ending plotted out in his head. But that was scheduled to finish 15 years ago. And as you're
15 years ago. So wait,
along,
it's 2023, right? So 15 years ago would have been when? 2008?
You get different interesting ideas that you put in that kind of changes it and lengthens it, etc. But this time in particular for Tekken 8, he said he plotted out a storyline overall for 8 in particular. And then the development staff they add their own twists and ideas to it. So it's
this
actually,
is saying nothing.
Quite surprising for even Harada, even though he knows the general story line.
Hold on a second, bro.
Story, they add
what just happened with that side step?
Quite surprising.
Ooh, that side step. That was clean.
That, oh wow, this kind of happens, and so since that's the case for him, he's quite confident that most of the players won't be able to foresee what's going to happen, right? So yeah, and then even for me personally, I'm with the development staff after Harada's given the general order, and because everyone's worked on the game so much and they're all Tekken fans as well, it's like, awesome. Hey, if it's this character, this is what the community expects, and they would love if we do this, or on the other hand, they're going to expect this, so let's go this way. And so it is one of the more fun parts of the development is the story and what we want to do with the story arcs.
I dare you, Marshall!
So I noticed that in the trailers you have veteran MMA and pro wrestling commentator or ring announcer Len Hart. Was that like an audition process getting her in there, or was that someone that you specifically reached out to be part of Tekken 8?
あれは指名ですね。ちょっと
And that's actually someone that we knew because a lot of the team was into the martial arts events, and we actually asked her directly, "Hey, can you do this?" And just to give it that atmosphere and the feel and to boost everyone's excitement, she adds a lot.
I like that combo Lars just did. I'm not gonna lie.
And maybe a lot of people don't know, she did Anna, voice actor too, before in the past, right? Yeah, she was the voice actor for Anna before. So, and she's been at our events, and she's done some announcements as well. So it was a logical choice.
Can you talk a little bit about being able to use Unreal Engine 5 as it pertains to Tekken 8? What kind of advancements has it allowed for in the actual combat? And do you see the Unreal Engine 5 being like, a way for fighting games to evolve in the future?
難しいとこですね。実は
It's a very interesting question. We could say that for Tekken 7, even we use UE4 first, right? Even then, the engine itself was more probably geared towards shooters or games with wide open stages, and so fighting games required a whole lot of different things, and so the visual aspect of it was pretty much paired with, was for using UE4. But the actual underlying mechanics that actually made the game run was usually scripting and stuff that we did on our side, and then heavily kind of customizing it to make it fit what we need. The same could be said for UE5, that it's really easy to get that high level of graphics that people expect from this current generation of, they were called next gen, but now they're the current generation of consoles, right? UE5 is really good at letting you do that quickly and to get the look and the feel of a game. But that said, we're still doing most of the scripting and moving, the actual action of the game, and all of those elements are done on our programming and scripting side. So part of the challenge is to take those pretty graphics and kind of marry them with the underlying framework of the game. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard to say that fighting games will change in such a certain manner because of UE5, because it's more of a shooter-based game, or based engine, which we're actually heavily customizing. And it seems like Guilty Gear is probably doing even the same thing on theirs. Not the same as us, but
not the same as us. They're not as cool as us. All right. Is there any more Tekken footage before I get out of here?
Tekken 7
we got
of the fighting game community for a reason.
We got some
it's the most refined, the 3D fighter.
We got more? It's nuts.
Always
GameSpot got a preview too. I don't know if this is all the same footage. This is the same.
To activate heat, to access new attacks, open opportunities to specific moves.
I'm pretty sure this is the same. I'm just coming through to see if I get any new Kazuya stuff.
Your opponent briefly, but you also have heat engages, which are more complex, character-specific moves that also activate heat and add 2 stocks in other fighting games.
This is like one of those games where you have to have stock
footage.
Because of the
differences in the heat system that they'll gradually want to
Like,
try
you think
other characters
IGN
as
and
well,
GameSpot
and
all
we
got
really
this,
think it
like,
will
the
induce
same
that
results?
exploration. It's also another layer that high-level players are going to have to benefit from Tekken, and that once a state for a lot longer if you play his best.
Sorry, man. I am only
Sasuke's
interested in
Chidori
seeing more
with his
Kazuya
super
gameplay.
fast lightning strikes. Every character today's standards was its lack of proper tutorialization. Command lists, suggested combos, and a free practice training mode are all they wanted to use a certain movement and didn't want to mess it up. Lowering the barrier to entry is key to onboarding players, but another one of the noticeable shortcomings of Tekken 7, especially by today's standards, was its lack of proper tutorialization. Command lists, suggested combos, and a free practice training mode are all well and good for those with some fighting game or Tekken experience, but newcomers or lapsed players don't have much to guide them. I noticed Tekken
So Kazuya just has forward 2, double forward 2.
For what each
I'm a fan
character
of that
do
because
and
Kazuya's
situations.
forward 2 just
Tekken
seemed
can get
useless,
quite
right?
gives me
It was
hope that
high
Tekken
and
could properly
doesn't really do
address
anything.
This area. Getting ready for the next battle. The new mechanics of Tekken
Okay,
8
so that's it. Very interesting day. I'm going to be uploading these as soon as I can, but first, need to get ready for class. Luckily, it's only like, I want to say like 8 minutes away, so alright, I'll catch you guys later.